Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome those of you who are present and those of you who are online to the service of Mr. Irving Farber. Rabbi Aaron Wolf from the Chicago Mitzvah Campaign will be officiating. I ask that everyone take a moment to be sure that your cell phones have been turned off. And if you want to gather underneath the canopy, you can. Just try to use some social distancing. The family can be seated at this time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can now say good afternoon. It's 12 o'clock. We are all gathered here today to pay tribute and to bid farewell to Irving Farber, Avraham Yitzchak ben Binyamin. I will begin, as the tradition is, reciting the 23rd Psalm. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo yechsor. Binos deshe yabitzeni, al mei menuchos yenahaleni. Nafshi yishovev yancheni, b'magle tzedek leman shmo. Gam ki elech begeit samoves, lo ira ra ki ata imadi. Shiftecha umishantecha, heima yenachamuni. Taruch lefonai shulchan neged zorerai, Dishanta v'Hashem en roshi kosi revaya. Ach tov v'chesed yedefuni kol yemei chayai, B'shavti b'veis Adonai l'orech yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He has me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He revives my soul. He guides me on paths of righteousness for his glory. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you, God, are with me. Your rod and your staff do comfort me. You set a table in sight of my enemies. You anoint my head with rich oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall abide in the house of the Almighty forever. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard this psalm, I would say, at least once or twice before. Many times people ask, why? Why are we talking about God? God is my shepherd. What are we talking about shepherds at a funeral service? Well, you already heard plenty of sermons in the high holidays. You're not going to hear another one today. I just want to touch upon that for a moment. This psalm expresses the most intimate, personal relationship of man with our beloved God. Life is not always a bag of roses. All kinds of ups and downs, all kinds of troubles, agony. But there's one comforting thought, and that is that the Lord is my shepherd. Well, why is that so comforting? Because what is a shepherd? Most of us, even the children, don't know what a shepherd is. Maybe they've seen a movie, they've read books and stories, but years ago, it was a very common, more common than having a computer today. You had a shepherd and you had some sheep. A shepherd seeks to guide and care for his flock. A shepherd seeks fertile pastures in which his sheep may graze. A shepherd always stays very close to his flock. He helps them grow, develop, nurtures them. As he lovingly embraces and raises up the sheep who perhaps have been injured or are troubled. Let me tell you, God is our divine shepherd. He watches over his flock. We are his flock. We are the members of his flock. Sometimes in our despair, we doubt the justice of our shepherd because we don't understand him. Why? You ever heard anyone ask that question? Why does God do this? Or why does he do that? We don't understand his ways, but we are confident that he is concerned with our welfare, and he truly is a beloved, caring shepherd. He has me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. So even if sometimes, as is inevitable, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm. When a child is together with a parent, the child feels he's not afraid because I am with mommy, I'm with daddy. When we know that God is with us, you are with me, as King David says in the 23rd Psalm. Therefore, I fear no harm. Your rod and your staff comfort me. When a child sees a parent, recognizes the parent's, demeanor, the parent's clothes, how the parent is walking, that brings comfort to the child. We know God is with us, and your staff comforts me. For I know that the rod of the shepherd seeks to guide me, however strange that path may appear to me. However puzzled I may be by the evil that sometimes comes our way. But I have faith in the divine shepherd. Gives me confidence to proclaim that only goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall abide in the house of the Lord forever. Ladies and gentlemen, I recall many, many years ago, and I say this over again and again. This goes back 20, 30 years ago, officiated at a funeral, and I was new at the time. And after the funeral, the family had a tradition. They went to celebrate. And I said, what's the celebration? It wasn't Yom Tov. Now it's Yom Tov. We'll talk about that in a minute. It wasn't the holiday. They're going to celebrate. That individual that passed away at the time was in his 90s, similar. And the family felt that instead of mourning, we want to celebrate the life of our parent, sibling, whoever it was. The truth of the matter is, today, we are gathered to mourn the loss of Irving, as I think most of you call him Irv, but at the same time, it's truly a celebration. It's a celebration because the little that I know, that Irv, until a few weeks ago, living alone, in his 90s, I can't tell you what condition I see 90-year-olds, men, male or female. Thank God he was able to be with a family, see all his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. It's truly a blessing. But we can never come to peace with the loss of a parent. All the rationalizations, yes, he lived a good life. Unfortunately, he lost his wife so many years ago, and he had to live alone. As we said before, we don't understand it. No one does. But putting all things in perspective, he himself was able to live in a much better, he was in a much better place than many other people his age. And that's truly a celebration. Today is the holiday of Sukkot. And by Torah law, one is not supposed to make a eulogy during any of the festivals. Although we do have a funeral during these days, but a eulogy, okay, by the strict law of Shulchan Aruch, of the code of Jewish law, it's prohibited. Can't make any eulogies. Because this is a time of celebration. And you know something? What I just said a minute ago? It is a double celebration. We're celebrating the life of Irving. I think you'll all agree with me. But at the same time, we're also celebrating a holiday. So we spoke about this being a holiday, a time of celebration, double celebration, celebrating the life of Irving, and celebrating a holiday. But at the same time, how can we have both? How can we have a celebration on one side, and on the other side, just lost a parent, just lost a father? You know, is it possible to smile and cry at the same time? So, we're going to talk about the life of Irving. How can I make a eulogy? I just told you a minute ago there's no eulogies. The answer is it all depends what the purpose of the eulogy is. The purpose of a eulogy is only for all of us to know the history of Irving, what a wonderful human being he was. He was so good to his family, so good to all of those that he came into contact with. That's purely a eulogy, and that's prohibited. But we're going to give it a different twist today. Instead of only talking about Irving, we're going to try to figure out how can we apply those wonderful attributes, virtues from Irving to ourselves, to our families, to our children. So this way, we're not only walking away today knowing that there was a man that passed away in his 90s, an amazing person, wonderful, but instead we're going to be walking away, guess what? I heard something that perhaps I can introduce that to my family and to my children, to my grandchildren. So we're gathering here together to celebrate his life and to see what we can do to enhance our family and to see how the relationships that we are involved in, how that can be improved. In that case, it's 100% permissible. Because is it okay to have a family gathering to see what we can do to make the children happier? Of course. Whether it's a holiday or not, it's always a good time to talk about how we can make the family a happier family. So I want to talk about a few things that shared with me, Sue shared with me, and see how we can walk away and apply that to our families as well. So, I got to find it. One of the things I was told is that he never got angry. I don't have it with me. He never got angry. You know, we're all human. Here it is. We're all human. And if someone gets you upset, you'll ask a psychologist, and the psychologist will say, you have a right to get angry. You have that right to express your feelings. But if you don't get angry, that's even better. The Talmud says, Kol HaKoyis, the Talmud talks very negative about someone who, anytime something doesn't work out the way he wants it, he gets angry and he tries to retaliate. That was not Irving. That was not him. Never saw him get angry or frustrated or say any unkind or judgmental words about anyone. And I'm sure many times he realized something negative about another person, but just be quiet. You know, the general rule is if you can help If you can somehow, you know, if whatever you're going to say is going to change that person, then tell it to him. And also, how you tell the person, when you should talk to the person. This is something we can definitely learn from Irving. He treated everyone he met with care and respect. Well, he gets dressed in nicer clothes, so he must be, who knows what, the CEO of a big company. I better be, when I talk to him, I better roll up my sleeves and make sure I do it the right way. He treated everyone he met with care and respect. It's not easy to. Okay? All of us are involved in business and families. It's not easy. But yet, this is what the family can testify about Irving. He was a lifelong learner. There were few things that didn't interest him, and he loved trying new things, learn new things. Again, I'm going to quote the Talmud that says, Ezo Chacham, who is considered a real wise guy? Not wise guy, who's a wise man. Who is somebody who we can classify as a Chacham? He's wise, he's clever. That he did another 4 years of college? No. Whatever he got, a whole wall of degrees and diplomas? No. What did the Talmud say? Halomed mikol adam. Somebody who takes the liberty to learn from everyone. I may not like one thing about you, but I like many other things about you that I'm going to learn from you, and I'm going to try to apply that to my life. But don't dismiss anyone. Treat everyone with care and respect, because you can always find something in every single human being that you may say, something? I don't have that. Nobody can say that about me, so maybe it's time for me to improve my behavior. Always put his family first, and took pride in his home and his family, was a great role model of caring for each and every member of the family. He probably sent out about 50 cards a year because he remembered everyone's anniversary and everyone's birthday and so on and so forth. Again, I can tell you about myself. I'm not perfect in that area. It's hard to remember. And you may say, I totally forgot it's your birthday. I totally forgot it's your anniversary. When do I remember? A week or two late, or maybe a month later, So this is something else that we can learn from him. It only takes a few minutes. Prepare the cards ahead of time. It only takes a few minutes to write the card, but this impression that it makes on a child and a grandchild and whoever it may be, a friend, let alone a family member, is an everlasting impression. Look at this. One of the things that they put on paper in one of the grandchildren, one of his grandchildren, is that, he never forgets. He never forgets. And they will forever remember that. They will forever cherish that. And so again, this is one other thing that we can learn from Irving. I chose I was given 2 pages to read, but I told you I will pick and choose those things that I think none of us can say we are perfect. We are just par excellence in this area. Everyone can find a way to improve in one of these areas, whether it's with family, whether it's with all the people who we meet with, how we react with them, whether we get angry, we don't get angry, treat them properly. And then when you do it, it's okay to think, this guy, I really want to give it to him, but I won't, because I remember what I heard at that funeral out of respect and memory of Irving. I'm going to try to change this pattern, this behavior that I have. And if we do that, and you have no idea, there are many that are listening, there are many that will be listening to this because it's on their website. You have no idea how many people may turn around and say, yes, I'll do that. I think I can talk to my family about this. I can talk to myself about this. I'm going to look into the mirror and say, okay, I think it's about time. So in the schus, the merit of Irving, of all of us getting together here today, although it's a holiday, we take upon ourselves to improve the behavior amongst ourselves, amongst our friends and associates and so on and so forth, is the greatest thing for the neshama of Irving. So when we do good things, it benefits the neshama. That's what we're told. And it works both ways. The neshama of Avram Yitzchak ben Binyamin, although he's not with us anymore, but the neshama is with us. And he is going to be pushing many buttons over there to see to it that all of you here, all of those that are left behind, will have good, happy, healthy years. Many, 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 many more celebrations. He's going to work hard up there to make sure that you get all those blessings. And in return, we're going to do whatever we can in his memory so that his soul is blessed as well. Okay. Phil?
Maybe I'll make it. When one thinks about my dad, there's so much you can say, but so little is needed to say. He lived his life as a loving, caring, and gentle man. Always soft-spoken, yet still opinionated and focused in his guidance as I was growing up. He had so many traits that I admired and hoped to emulate in my life. Whenever I have thought about my own life and growing up, it is difficult, if not impossible, to think of my dad ever raising his voice. Mom would say, "Wait until your father gets home." But then he would come home and sit with me on my bed and talk about what I did wrong. Don't get me wrong, he may not have yelled, but you still knew you did something wrong and it was not the best choice, or you'd better think about not doing it again. When I got older, I was fortunate enough to be able to spend a lot of time with my dad, while in the meat business together, and his accounting help when I started photo images, through the time we spent in the car together on our long drives out of state. I learned so much from him during these times together. I learned how important family is, as well as some hilarious stories about his past. Like I said, there's a lot you can say about my dad, but little needed, as everyone who knew him saw how he lived his life as a kind and even-tempered person. He always had your back. Through my life, I may not have always made the brightest choices, and since we're all family here, we're all aware of that. Yet Dad was always there for me and my kids. He was one to never judge, but he was always there for you. Through all the hard times, Dad was the first one there offering his help. He always had your back, whether you were deserving of it or not. When my first set of kids were born, I thought a lot about how to be a father. I knew that I wanted to be as great of a dad to my kids as he was always to me. If I could teach my children how to be the person my dad is, I knew I would be a successful father. One day when Logan was about 5 or 6, he was at my house and got himself in a bit of trouble. I don't remember what it was about, but I took him down to the basement where he thought I was going to yell at him. I just put him on my lap and started talking, and his words stuck in my head. He said, "Papa Phil, I like you talk to me and don't yell at me like everyone else." I then realized I was on my way to being the man that my dad is. A special feeling of calm and happiness filled my body. Dad, I love you and will forever miss you. Your teachings and all the memories will be a part of our family always. I love you.
There's a tradition to ask mechila, to ask forgiveness. As good as everything that the family did, amazing how they took care of, how you took care of your father. Nevertheless, you never know. Maybe there was something somewhere that wasn't exactly the way he wanted it, or it didn't work out the way we wanted it. So therefore, there's a tradition to ask mechila, ask forgiveness. So as they lower the casket now, the children or family members can go over and ask mechila. You do that silently to yourself. You don't have to use a microphone for that. And he's listening. That's the most important thing. And at that time, we're gonna cut the ribbon or cut we do the Korean. So some of you may or may not know the history of the, how many years I go back with the family. So while they're not ready yet anyways, I might as well share with you. So, Mrs. Farber, 25 years ago, 26 years ago, was teaching at the Chedel Lubavitch Hebrew Day School in Skokie, where my son attended. And this was his favorite teacher. And I can probably say, you'll soon see why it's most likely the truth, that he was also her favorite student. And she got ill sometime before she passed. Maybe somebody remembers exactly when it happened. She said she wants, Mendy's my son, she wants Mendy's father to officiate at her funeral. And I knew her from school. I taught in the school at the time as well. So I saw her coming, going, saw her in the teacher's room, but I really wasn't that friendly with her. But there was some connection that my son made with her, and those were her wishes. And 25 years later, here I am. So I didn't forget about Irving for the last 25 years. At least once a year, I tried to remember him because his wife meant so much to my son, and my daughter reminded me yesterday that it was her favorite teacher too. They're 2 years apart. Anyway, so every single year before Passover, I send them a gift for Passover. I don't think I ever failed, maybe once or twice, but pretty much if I wasn't able to go myself, I send one of my kids to go. And many times I called him, if I couldn't see him personally, I would call him, wish him a happy holiday. And about 2 months ago, I called him and I said, we built a beautiful senior center in West Rogers Park. I think you qualify to be a senior. Would you like to come and join? And he came with Jen, came to see the place. He wanted to make sure that, I'm not pulling his leg. And sure enough, it is a beautiful place, but that's the last time I saw him. And he never managed to partake in the activities. I guess he wanted to, but just never materialized. And as I said, here we are today to remember him in the past. So the Wolf and the Farbers go back a long time. And I met many people 25 years ago, and 24 and 23 and 22 years ago, but I can't remember someone else. I don't even know why. Can't remember anyone else that I kept up, being in contact with them for so many years. But this is my pledge. I will continue that with the children. Okay? So for many, many more happy and healthy years. I don't want to stop over here. I don't think Irv wants me to stop. So you have to remind me, give me your numbers, your addresses, and you'll get a Passover gift. I can't give it to him, I'll give it to you. Get the three of you. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are present, everyone's invited to place some earth into the grave. The tradition is to try to cover the grave as much as possible. Please don't hand the shovel from person to person. Memorial contributions to the Chicago Mitzvah Campaign or anything with Jewish education or a favorite charity would be appreciated. The information about the Shiva campaign, Mitzvah Campaign is on the service folder. For those of you who are online, you can find that information on our website. I'll get this on the website. Right? Okay, and then where else? Where's the? Where is it? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are online, all the Shiva information is on the website, chicagojewishfunerals.com.
cold weather, ik heb een cold weather. Dus hier is bij de better side.
Sure, you get some more water.
Yep, this box here. Excuse me. This is water. Drink. Good cold, huh? Still. Guys, you like water? If you like extra water, stay here, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Nachman is really, he's having a real workout. Okay, if the machine puts the list in. Child, I think you're what you thought. Just came back. Okay. Well, I worked on it because he was out here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a little warm out here. We have the water. We also, Boris will pass out some cold towels just to put on your forehead if you want, or wipe your hands. Just take care of yourself. This is such a nice it's possible. When you leave a grave, you leave it with an impression that will be other human being, you have an impression on your life. It's like all yours.
He followed him. Oh no. Oh no. It was like he was like I think that was like the thing. I always think about that when I'm serving drinks. I'm like, really freeze this tray and put some drinks in it.
המסך ומקלח מזמור, שמובד כל המרגים הקריש וחובד, גם בני אדם גם בני איש יחד עושה ויביוי, בידה בחכמויס ואגמוס לבסבן רויס, עטל משה אוזני, אפתח בחינר חידוסי, לא מאירה ומאירה בין הכבה יסו בין הבית מאחיל אמריב אשת מסללו, אך בית פדיף תיש ליתנו להם כפלי, יקפיד ונפשו מחודל מאילום. וכי אוהד לא נצח לירח השחש, כי ירח החמי ימוס יחד כיסו בבר יבי דבוז לאחרים חילם. קרבום בתים אלוהי למשכני סום לדי ודויר, קורא ושמי סם עלי אדמויס, ואדום ביקור בעל יובים נמשל כבהם הסלידמו, זה דקום כסל לומי ואחריהם בפיהם יצאו סלום. קצין לשלשת ומבזירם בידובם, ישרם לבויקי וצוחם לבעל שאול מזבולוי, אך אלה מפלנש מיד שאול כי ככי נסלה, עתירה כי ישי איש כי בכבוד ויסוי, כלוי ומויסוי ייקח הכל לירד אחריו כבודוי, כי נפשי בחייו יברך ידוך כסי תבלוך, תבוי עדוי רב ויסוב עד נצח ויראו אור, אדם ביקר ולא ונמשל כבהם מויס נדמו. Do not say the memorial prayer, the Kimmel Rachmim, and instead say a short prayer and then followed by the Kaddish. Eternal God, creator, merciful Father of all your children bound in grief, seek life to dispel the dark gloom which threatens to overwhelm them. Be gracious to those who mourn, for they are in distress. Bless them with your compassion, ease their burden of sorrow, send them light and peace, as it is written, fear not, as I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will sustain you with my power. Our merciful Father, strengthen those who mourn the loss of their father, grandfather, great-grandfather, Irving Avram Yitzchak ben Binyamin Farber. Help them to look beyond this moment. Help them to realize that death cannot destroy the bonds of your everlasting love. Sustain them with the knowledge of our faith, that you will not abandon our souls, that you will not allow your faithful to suffer. For you, O Lord, have taught us the real way of life. Let us all say Amen. At this point, we will now recite the regular mourners' Kaddish. יסקדל ויסקדש רבו יעמוד יברך ירוסי וימליך מחוסי וחיי חוין ובימי חוין וחיי בכל בית ישראל הגולו ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבו מברך לעולם ומעומיה יתברך וישתבח ויספר ויסלם ויתנשא Yisador, Yisalev, Yisalo, Shmei, the Kutsha, B'Yekho, Yelo, Minko, B'Chasa, V'Shirasa, Tush, B'Chasa, V'Nechomasa, Tamiran, V'Alma, V'Imru, Amen. Yehei, Shlomo, Rabba, Yishmaya, Chayim, Leinu, V'Akol, Yisrael, V'Imru, Amen. Oseh, Shalom, B'Mamav, Hu, Yaseh, Shalom, Aleinu v'Hakol Yisrael V'Imru Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we invite everyone other than his 3 children to form a shura, a double aisle over here. You could use a sidewalk as a guide. Those of you who are online, the family appreciates you attending this afternoon. This time we're going to turn off the live stream as we have the family walk through the shura.